Today, I'm gonna teach you how to create beautiful videos using only a smartphone. As somebody that owns a DSLR, I do still use my iPhone a fair bit, and you will be seeing a lot of iPhone footage in my videos. Now, I am saying iPhone because the device I use is an iPhone 11 Pro, but it does not matter which smartphone you have. These are completely universal tips. Number one, light. Understanding how to effectively use lighting is one of the absolute keys to mastering smartphone videography. Cameras can withstand much worse lighting conditions, where these little puppies need really good lighting in order to produce crisp, non-pixelated, non-grainy footage. Let me quickly demonstrate the importance of lighting. Right now, I'm sat in front of a window. There are no blinds on it, and the light streaming through is really beautiful. It's a sunny day. Generally speaking, this is as good as it's gonna get when vlogging from your home, okay? And now, let me show you what happens when you don't choose the right light source. So right here, I've got light streaming through the window, but it's only hitting half my face. You can see loads of shadows. It's very uneven. But let's make it even worse with my back to the window. Generally speaking, the best time to film is something called the golden hour, which happens directly after sunrise and right before sunset. This creates really beautiful soft light that is super flattering. You may have heard of golden hour in relation to selfies. Well, it applies just as much when it comes to video footage. The other tip would be to avoid shooting at midday when the light is really harsh and creates a lot of unflattering shadows. And this is particularly problematic if you're shooting people or yourself by vlogging, because it will just make your face look really bad. Number two, movement. Larger devices typically produce much nicer, smoother footage than an iPhone or any other kind of smartphone ever will. But there are ways of getting around this. One of them is in post-production. You might be able to stabilize your footage with editing software. However, this doesn't always work and can still result in fairly choppy looking footage, which is why a lot of people have a little ace up their sleeves. Mine is the Smooth X. I absolutely love this device, and the creators of it are actually the proud sponsors of today's video, which is great news because I would have wanted to promote them anyway. This device is absolutely amazing. It packs really small like this, but then you open it up like so, pop your iPhone in here, pair it using Bluetooth, and then just use the app on your phone. It's called ZY-Cami, and it's actually a really good app, but more on that later. Here is what this device is capable of. We can extend it right here to 26 centimeters, which actually gives you really good length if you want to take different panning shots or group videos, group selfies. You can also flip the head up like so you can maneuver it this way. Whoop. And it gives you the option of holding your phone vertically and horizontally. The Smooth X has some really cool features like this gesture activation, where it activates you and begins to track you. So if I move to the left or to the right, so does the camera, which I think is super handy, especially for us vloggers, because we end up self-shooting most of the time. Another thing I want to show you is the settings. You can shoot on manual here, setting your ISO, shutter speed, and exposure, or set it onto auto. The gimbal also has a few settings. It's got video, slow motion, time-lapse, and hyperlapse. There are 4 basic video making moves that I want to introduce you to, and in order to demonstrate them, I will be using the Smooth X. However, you can do all of these without any external devices, i.e. you can just use your smartphone. Having said that, the footage is a lot nicer when you use one of these, and at $59, I think this is an absolute bargain. Number 3, composition. This is actually a really straightforward one. All you have to do to improve your composition is turn on the grid function on your camera. This is how you do it on iPhone. On other devices, I imagine it'll be just as simple. And then there are 2 rules here that you can follow. The first one is the rule of thirds, which is placing your subjects on the lines. Alternatively, you may want to place your subject directly in the middle, which is where the eye is naturally drawn. Another great composition tip is to pay attention to where you're holding your camera. Most people's tendency would be to hold it right here, where it's at eye level. By doing that, we are just mimicking what everyone is experiencing on a daily basis. By holding the camera elsewhere, you're offering a new vantage point, a new way of seeing the world, if you will, which immediately will liven up your footage. A really cool effect that you can create by shooting from ground level is the impression of things looking quite majestic. I look like a queen. Or not, but you know, a girl can dream. Number 4, speed. Changing up the speed of your videos can be a really simple yet super rewarding way to liven things up. We've got the time-lapse and hyperlapse functions. They're quite frequently used as establishing shots in films where you can see the sky change from day to night and stuff like that. On the opposite end, we've got slow motion, which on an iPhone is 240 frames per second. It lends itself really well to things like walking, or perhaps something quite visual like blowing on a dandelion or throwing leaves up into the air, sand, flicking your wet hair back and seeing the individual droplets come off, stuff like that. It can be quite poetic in a way. Number 5, B-roll. If you've never heard this term before, don't worry because it's actually really simple. All it means is those clips that you layer on top of your principal footage. What I mean by principal footage is those stationary things like what I'm doing right now, this interview, right? This is my principal footage, and now this is my B-roll. It's added in there to liven up the shot, to make it look visually more appealing, more interesting, and to just stop people from getting bored, because if you're just gonna watch me sitting here talking to you, you will probably doze off. Yeah, that's fine. A little bit of trivia for you. The term B-roll originates in the early days of Hollywood filmmaking, when the principal footage would be called A-roll, named after the actual film rolls that it was filmed on, and B-roll would then be the alternative clips. Shoot as much B-roll as possible. I would say about 4 to 6 times the length of the actual clip that you're looking to cover, because you never know how much of it you're gonna need, and the last thing you want whilst you're editing is to run out, because what might happen is you end up chopping the principal footage to cut out awkward pauses, ums and ahs, and if you run out, you're gonna end up with strange looking videos. But don't despair. If you do forget to shoot enough B-roll, there are video libraries on the internet that offer royalty-free footage. There is one called videvo.net, there is pexels.com, and Pixabay. I have used all of these in my past videos to add a bit of interest. Using these clips is completely free, and quite often you don't even have to credit the people who created them, but I would say that it's much nicer if you do, because it's nice to be nice. Number 6 is sound. If you are struggling with audio quality, I would recommend 2 microphones. The first is the Rode Video Micro, which is a really high quality piece of tech, or you could use a lapel mic, which you then plug in directly into your phone. Number 7, editing. There are literally hundreds of thousands of videos on this topic, and it's one that's too big for this video, but one thing that I wanted to say is that you can quite easily edit videos using literally just your smartphone these days. There are free apps like the iMovie app, and there is also the ZY Cami app, which you get for free if you buy the Smooth X, which again is linked in the description below. And I was actually very impressed by this app because it just has a lot of different capabilities. They even have templates that allow you to just insert footage and have it immediately turned into a really professional looking video. So if you're looking to get a bit of help, or maybe just a bit of inspiration, that is an app I would 100% recommend. Have you ever created a video using just a smartphone? And if so, how did it go? Do you have any questions? See you next Friday. Thank you for watching.